Hi, I'm Kristen Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? Welcome back, everybody, to Are You a Charlotte? Part 2. Today, we have a super fun and interesting guest. Her name is Dr. Viviana Coles. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified sex therapist. We're going to talk about episode 404, what sex got to do with it. Thanks for joining us. Here we go. I love Miranda's storyline. It's not that involved, but it's so relatable. And it leads to her eating from the trash, which is one of my all-time favorite Miranda things ever to do, ever.
Okay, it's not just a Miranda thing. You have eaten out of the trash, Kristen.
I mean, I might have.
Okay, maybe.
It's hard to think of because I've got my kids, right? And so like I would need them to be in bed. Do you know what I mean? Like if they're in bed and not watching, because you can't do things like that in front of the kids, really. But like I feel like sometimes I throw like candy out or things, and then I'm like, oh, why did I throw that away? I want to eat that, But it's rare. It's rare, I have to say. But I think it's so adorable. Like her whole storyline is about how she's on a sex strike, which is really funny, and she's going to replace it with chocolate. And Jon Stewart, which is so cute. And then she just keeps eating the chocolate and she buys this expensive chocolate, but then no, she's going to buy it. And then she doesn't. Then she gets her Betty Crocker. I mean, there's so many adorable things in this storyline, but then in the end, she goes back to her vibrator. What do you think about that?
Old Faithful.
I know. What do you, as a therapist, I mean, I don't know how many, like, do you also see single people or just couples?
I do. I see single people, more specifically single people who are coming out of having had a really painful relationship, whether it was 3 years ago or 3 weeks ago. And they're like, I just don't want to repeat that. So please help me date.
No way.
Help me to figure. Oh, yeah.
And you help them date?
Yes.
Oh gosh, I need to call you.
More men, more and more men are coming in for that.
No way.
It used to be that it was more women, but now more and more men are like, I don't know. I will say, I think that men are a little bit better about just saying it how it is. Like they're like, I don't want to be seen as an F boy. Like I don't want to be that guy. Yes, the younger generation.
Amazing. Well, good for them. Good for them. This gives me hope. This is great. Yeah. So you're saying they come in and they're like, I don't want to be seen as a F boy. Wow. Yes. And what do you recommend for someone who might come in saying this?
I want them to be, I encourage them to be very honest, because on the other side of the couch, typically I will have women who are coming in and say, I can't trust anybody. All they do, these men are lying. These men are lying. So I'm like, okay, nobody likes that. But if you're dating, like, just don't lie about the little things. Don't lie about the big things. Just don't lie. And then you can actually probably find somebody, the lid to your pot. And I think I was literally just working with somebody, a single man this morning. And I was telling him, I said, look, this dating that you did with this particular person for the past 6 weeks, you have come in every week and told me everything that's gone on. We've gone over your feelings, your thoughts, what she said, how you did it, what all that. You didn't do anything. I can't tell you that you did anything wrong. She just wasn't aligned with you. She doesn't want the same things at the same time. But if I were you, I would tell you to do everything that you did the exact same way. And he was like, are you kidding me? Like, no, like, I think if it didn't work out, that means I have to do something different. I'm like, there are two people involved here.
Definitely.
And she told you she's not ready for what you're wanting. That doesn't mean you have to change.
Right.
So while that doesn't happen often, more often than not, I'm like, yeah, you got to tweak this, you got to tweak that. But with a lot of them, it's just be honest. I honestly, like, if people can just be more honest, and I don't mean necessarily direct or blunt, because I feel like there should be some finesse there. But if you're honest, I think you'll be much more likely to have a really good relationship or a really good breakup. And that's better than the alternative.
Definitely better than the alternative. I mean, it's all very interesting because I am a single mother of 2 children and it takes all my time up. But when I first started this podcast, everyone was like, you should get on the dating apps. You should get on the dating apps. And I didn't want to do it. And I still haven't done it. And it does seem like it's this whole culture of the swiping, and then people text with other people, but then they don't ever see them in person, apparently.
Well, now they're not even texting with each other. They're texting with their chat GPTs. It's awful. And it's only getting worse, y'all. We need to get back to dating in the wild. I think I've been married for over 18 years. So,
wow.
But
impressive.
I do think that dating in the wild, all those people who are like, oh, I can't show up to singles events. Well, then you don't need to be in a relationship. Go meet somebody through someone. Go do something that you love and that you're interested in, and talk to the person next to you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't end up being a good fit, but maybe their brother is, maybe their cousin, maybe their coworker. The other thing that I was on a local show here in Houston, a late night show, where anything goes, by the way. It's so fun. And I was talking to one of the bartenders, and he's like, I just don't understand how people are dating, but they're not going to places where they would want to spend more time. I'm like, exactly. You should be going to do things that you would want to do, because then if you go to this thing and it's not at all what you're into, and you meet somebody who's into it, then you're already starting off at a deficit.
Sure.
It's just wild. It's wild. Dating in the wild is now, I think, where people should be going.
Good. I like that very much. Let's talk about Samantha, because we didn't talk about Samantha. Does she have some interesting things. Okay. So just fundamentally, as a sex therapist, what do you think about, Samantha has this, kind of joy in terms of like, I'm going to do exactly what I want, when I want it, how I want it, all of the things. She's very in charge of herself and her sex life. And then she decides, kind of randomly, it seems like to me, to date a woman, which we haven't ever seen. And not even just to have sex with a woman, but to be in a relationship with a woman, which to me seems like a pretty big leap
for Samantha.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny because I think it was Carrie who's like, wait a minute, you're in a relationship?
Right. Totally. It's shocking. Yeah, definitely. What do you make of that?
I think Samantha was so attracted to, I think her name was Maria, right? Mm-hmm. So attracted to Maria's self-confidence. And that is true. I'm always telling women, if you want to be sexy, show that you're confident. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what you've been through, what your body's been through, but if you're confident, you're going to attract and you're going to be magnetic. And I think Samantha was just like a moth drawn to a flame to this woman who is even more so confident sexually and confident in who she is and what she wants and with her body. I loved that Samantha was like, do you know that we have 3 holes?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
How did Samantha not know?
I know.
That's huge. And that just goes to show us like she's really learning something. She's getting this education that sometimes can only come from another woman.
For sure. And I also feel like it might also be because she hasn't really been in relationships with these guys. She just, it's kind of limited in terms of her exploration, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, because I guess it's all, for a short time, it's everything and then it's over, right? Which with a man, that's going to be totally different than what it looks like with a woman.
It is. And the fact that Maria was like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. Like, we're going to talk. We're going to, this isn't about sex. And it was almost like well, then what it's, she's thinking, what is this about then?
Right.
And then she finds out. And, maybe I think Samantha was probably not a lesbian like she proclaims. I think if anything, she really just was very attracted to this one particular person.
Right.
Maybe she's bisexual, but I think more than anything, she was just drawn to this person's soul and drawn to this person's spirit and confidence. And I think it almost turned into like a sexual mentorship.
I agree. Now, if someone came to you as a client and said, like, let's say Samantha was your client, and she said, I haven't ever really been with a woman except in a threesome with a guy, but yet this woman, I'm just so fascinated. would you say like, yeah, go for it? Or would you say like, well, maybe we don't want to jump all the way in?
Oh,
What would you say?
I mean, they're adults. What they're doing is safe, sane, and consensual. So I'd say go for
Got
it. I
it.
mean,
Got it.
the harm is there regardless of who you're dating, as far as getting your heart broken or possibly having an issue with harm or abuse or anything like that. So I would have said, you seem so enthralled by this person. I think you need to see it out, or else she'll be the one that got away. You never
Mm,
know.
interesting. So
Yeah.
you wouldn't, because part of me when I'm watching it, I'm thinking like, poor Maria, Sam's not really gay.
I think Maria had her number.
Got
I
it.
think
Got
she
it.
knew who Samantha was and was probably like, you know what? I think she got something out of it as
Got it.
well. I don't
Yeah.
think it was nefarious. I don't think it
Right.
was manipulative. I
No,
think it was
no.
just one of those things. It was probably really entertaining too.
Right, 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 right.
Everyone, it's always nice to feel like you are ahead of the game sometimes. And I think sometimes it can make you feel a little puffy, a little good about yourself to say, you know what, I know a little bit more about this. And that can happen with sex too.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point because that is kind of how she is. She is the mentor, as you're saying, and that
She's
must be
like,
fun for her.
yeah, she's the guide. She's like, I'm
Yeah,
going to be your
yeah.
sexual spirit guide.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's well put. That's really well put. I mean, it is such a departure in so many ways that sometimes I'm like, wow, I can't believe we did this. And cool,
Yeah, very cool. And going back to Miranda,
Uh-huh.
a lot of times people can they can swap out one addiction for another.
Right.
And, I'm often working with singles who are dealing with maybe a pornography addiction at times, addiction to the chase, right? Chasing a
Oh,
partner, but not necessarily wanting to be with them,
yes.
chasing attention. There's just,
Yes.
we're all chasing something, but sometimes it can become really overpowering and addictive. And I think with Miranda, that kind of crossing the wires of the food with the sex, we both have in turn but those two urges are very strong.
Hmm.
Hunger and sexual appetite and desire they're very, very strong. So there's a reason they call it appetite. It's very similar. So this happens more often than not. And sometimes when people try to go with abstinence, they turn to food.
Oh, goodness. Goodness. That's so interesting. I had never really thought that through. I mean, I guess it just makes sense to me when she does it, right? Like, I guess there's part of all of us that relates or whatever. But I don't know that, like, I don't know that it was necessarily something where I was like, I am not going to have sex. It was just like what was presenting itself, right? So then
Like
chocolate's always there.
celibacy, it was just like, oh no, I just haven't been with any, seen anybody I want to be with.
Right, right. But then there is some chocolate. So yay.
Yeah. One of the life's guilty pleasures. Yeah, for
Absolutely,
sure.
absolutely. I wonder back to the apps and the as you were saying the chase. To
Yeah.
me, and I've mostly talked to guys who are on the apps about this when I was trying to figure out like how does it actually work. And it did seem like because it's access to a lot of people without a lot of effort, right?
Commitment and effort.
Right.
Yeah. It's so gamified.
Right. Right. It doesn't seem healthy.
I don't have a lot of great things to say about the apps. Very rarely have I found that people have only positive experiences on the app. But look, most people don't have positive experiences in dating in the wild either.
So true.
But I just feel like it's very lopsided. I think that a lot of apps are geared towards just consumption, consumption, consumption,
Yeah.
but they're not really geared towards, hey, let's see what happens when I try to connect with one person. On
Right.
average, men are dating 7 people online at once.
Oh no. That's a lot. Wow.
Yeah. And I bet you if you were to ask ladies that are on the app, it's up there now too.
Wow.
And a lot of them will say it's a numbers game because they're
Oh.
they're talking to people, but they're not necessarily in conversation. It's not, and I will often tell people like, look, if you connect with somebody online or in real life, and you are both dating with a purpose, dating with intention, or at least feel like you are or want to be, then you need to ask them to give you a month of just dating you. Just 1 month. If you ask somebody for 3 months, it's gonna be like, whoa, that's too much of a commitment. But if you say, look, for 1 month, can we just date each other? And then if there's nothing there, we can move on. And a lot of times they're like, oh my gosh, that seems so bold. And I'm like, it's 1 month.
Totally. Totally. But I do feel like that's where the apps have kind of led the dating culture to this like consumption, as you said, just like so much, so much. And then the other day, I can't remember what I was looking at, but it must have been Instagram. It had like questions to ask someone on a first date. And it was a long list and they were very involved. And I was like, wow, if anyone asked me all these questions on a first date, I think I would have a breakdown. But it was things like, tell me the last time it was like, it must have been because I follow a lot of dogs on the Instagram. It said, what does your pet think of you? Like really interesting things.
Okay, if that's like the one question, that's cute, right? Because it's a lot of time I've heard people say a version of that, but I love that. Like, you might get some insight, but I think that that's more of a question that you should ask yourself. Just
Yeah.
a lot like when people say, how would your kids describe you?
Right.
And now there's a trend going around where it's like, how would your kids describe you if you went missing? Which is kind of funny. Which is kind of funny.
Oh
But yeah,
dear.
like how would your best friend describe you? How would your colleague describe you? How would your child describe you? How would your dog describe you? I think that that's a really cute way of getting you to say, how do I come across to others?
Got it. So do you think these are good questions?
I mean, I don't think they're bad. I think if you've got a long list though,
There was
that's an
I was like,
interrogation. That is a job interview.
Right. It's too much work. It seemed like work, this long list. But I guess you're right. It is like kind of just thinking outside the box, not just like, where did you grow up or whatever. Like that can get kind of dull.
Or if you were to tell somebody like, tell me what are your flaws or, because that's basically what you're asking is like, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? That's a very invasive question,
It is.
especially when you're trying to keep things light on the first date.
Yeah, I'd be so scared.
Yeah, these days with dating though, there's a lot of pressure. You will likely not get a second date. And so there's this sense of it's not just first impression, but I need to figure out what I need to know before I even try to get a second date.
Interesting.
It's just tough. It's tough with the volume, the sheer volume of people that are online and the fact that we give all of them like 0.3 seconds of just a picture
Yeah.
before we keep going.
Right.
I'm very fortunate not to be dating online right now or dating in general right now.
For
I
sure.
date my husband. We went on a date last night.
That's good. That's good.
But I do think that talking to your friends and even just telling others, I'm looking for somebody special. If you think that there's somebody who I could possibly have something in common with, and you know that they're not psychos, send them my way.
Definitely. So I have another question. It's kind of a general question, but I'm just curious because of your specialty, right? If you're talking to people who are dating, where would you put chemistry initially?
It's not at the top.
Interesting.
It's not at the top because I do believe that there is something to chemistry in terms of like whether or not you get a positive or a negative feel from someone or vibes, right? But that could also just be that they had an awful day. They got cut off in traffic. They got bad news. You don't really know where those vibes are coming from. And so if you're only giving somebody that first date to find out if there's chemistry, I feel like you're just cutting yourself off at the knees. It's so important to plan on having a second date. And there are some people online who will say, no matter what, you give somebody a second date. And I absolutely agree.
Interesting.
Unless they did something that was incredibly harmful or even just like maybe they said something that was just repugnant.
Right.
They could have just been having a bad day, and having a second chance to then confirm or deny what you're
Sure.
thinking is important.
That's interesting. So if with your couples, if you're thinking about people who are married and might come to you because they're having intimacy issues, is it something where, do you ever think to yourself, I don't know, maybe this is not a good question for therapists, but like, you know how sometimes you might have couples where they were like super attracted in the beginning, right? And everything was very hot and heavy. And then they get married and years later and the children and the jobs and everything, and it's not so hot and heavy, but then they can refer back to that. Like I've heard people talk about this, like you need that kind of intense time in the beginning so that you have that kind of ability and shared memories to hearken back to. And then there's other people, and I mean, I'm talking about my friends really, right? Who say like, it's better if it builds slowly in the beginning because then you're really getting to know each other. And that's where it's coming from. Does that make sense?
I think if you're trying to be in a long-term relationship, you can't go wrong with having either one of those. That's not where people go wrong, is whether they're slowly build up or they start off strong and then but it's that it doesn't transform into something long term. They think if the fire isn't just burning at 400 degrees, that something is wrong. They think we're not compatible.
Got it.
And that's actually one of the reasons I wrote this book, The Four Intimacy Styles. That's why I wrote my book, because there's so many people who are like, how do we connect in that way after so long when life gets in the way? And it's the answer to, we know our love languages, but what about sex? And then I started getting the question more and more often from interviews, from clients, from just people who corner me in a party. How do we keep the spark alive? How do we keep the spark alive? So that's my next book that's coming out.
Great.
I'll have to be back hopefully for that one.
Fantastic, yes.
But it's called Pillow Talk. And it's all about that underlying current of sensuality that couples must keep alive in order to dip into when they want to have sex. Sex can't just be cold, hot, turn on the light switch, right?
Right.
And a lot of women will tell me it feels like we won't talk for what feels like 3 days. And then the next time he wants to talk to me, it's to have sex.
Right.
And it makes zero sense. It feels like sex comes out of nowhere is what they tell me.
Right.
And I'm like, so you need to be able to have little flirting, talking, touching, joking. You need to be connecting on a daily basis so that intimacy, the spark is always there. It may not be a roaring fire. Maybe the roaring fire only happens on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. when you've scheduled sex, which I'm a fan of. Or when you go on vacation with each other, but it can't come out of nowhere. It's not satisfying. Women are not built this way. We can't just have it go cold to hot.
Right.
And men to a degree don't either, but they're just a lot quicker with the fantasies, right? They're able to get that arousal going.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of transitioning to something that is more long-term. And I love to talk to people about how to do that, because I do believe that if you're going to choose to be in a healthy relation or in a relationship, it needs to be healthy.
Right.
It does. That's the only way it's going to enhance your life, enhance your businesses, enhance your parenting, all of that. And when you're not, there are resources out there. There's really no excuse to not know what to do. Like Trey did not know what to do.
I know. Trey.
To deal with things these days.
Right. Okay, I have one really pressing last question for you. Are you a Charlotte?
I am absolutely a Charlotte.
Yay!
I mean, absolutely. And all of my friends have told me I am such a Charlotte.
Aww.
I don't even curse. Like when she said the F word, I was like, what? And that's how, like I am such a Charlotte, and I'm so glad to be on with you.
Oh, thank you. You're amazing. We definitely want to have you back. That was super, super informative. And thank you so much for everything in the books. I can't wait to read the books.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love the topic. I love, and it seems like you do too.
I do. But also it's just great to have a professional, and you're in it and you've been in it for a long time. And I love to hear like the reality, what's actually happening for people out there in the world. It's really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.